Hello luxury watch lovers! In this channel, I cover the background, fundamental design features and things to consider before buying your watch. If you have a luxury watch that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. In today's video, we're going to cover the Timex M79. This dependable timepiece is ready to accompany you wherever your adventures take you. It is designed for a wide range of watch aficionados, from those just starting their watch collection to the seasoned collector. The Timex M79 is the mechanical successor to the Timex Q, where M stands for mechanical and 79 stands for the year the Q was first released. All things considered, this is an amazing automatic watch with enticing features. The design looks gorgeous and the movement is smooth. The spring of 2019 feels like it was a lifetime ago. In many ways, it was a more optimistic era, with the release of the Timex Q making waves wherever watch media and collectors congregated. The Q possessed the same old world allure as its namesake from 1979. Additional colorways, as well as the eventual inclusion of an automatic movement, were unavoidable. After more than a year of development, the Timex M79 is an all-black version of the Timex Q with an automatic movement. It comes a long way, and I don't think it's lost the zing of the original in the process. Even though the switch to an automatic movement means a display case back, the experience of wearing the watch hasn't changed much from the Q. The bracelet retains the same fitment quirks. The model is embraced in the community in the same way that the Q was. It's inexpensive, it's based on an iconic design, and it's an American company's entry point into mechanical horology. Most importantly, it's just plain fun to wear, which is what this whole thing is all about. The M79 comes in a few flavors, the black model, and one with a split tone bezel that is black on top and blue or red on the bottom. The automatic variants represent a far more sober take on the light-hearted Q designs that have previously been released. The black example appears to be a watch design to be worn every day with something like a suit or whatever it is that people dress up in these days. But this isn't your typical dress watch. The large bezel, circular hour markers, and sub-style hands give this watch the appearance of a dive watch. But Timex is careful not to use language that suggests this is a dive watch, and the 50-meter water resistance and pull-out crown don't help its cause. For better or worse, there is clear dive watch inspiration at work here. Almost every iteration of the M79 is a collector's dream, and this one has pretty much everything a discerning watch fan could want: a stainless steel case and matching bracelet. Despite the two-tone bezel that we normally associate with a dual time zone GMT, the M79 watch is a diver's style watch. The black and red bezel is a clear nod to the Coke-style GMT master, while the hour hand design with a T is the smudged glasses equivalent of the Crown's Mercedes-style hour hand. The M79 isn't necessarily a replacement for Rolex customers who are tired of waiting on a waitlist, but it is an excellent substitute for those who don't have Rolex-level funds. Following the phenomenal success of the modern Timex Q, the Waterbury, Connecticut-based watch manufacturer has returned for the second act in a series of Timex Q re-editions. This time, it's a riff on a design that's all too familiar, but the most surprising aspect of this watch has nothing to do with its appearance. It's what's on the inside. The M79 aspires to capture the same enchantment that the Q did, with one obvious difference. This time, the bezel is inspired by Rolex's Batman GMT Master 2 design, the most recent example being the 126710 BLNR, which was released in 2021. The Timex incorporates an elapsed time design rather than a GMT design. It's a waitlist watch that frequently sells for significantly more than the retail on the secondary market. So what are some of the design features? The stainless steel case has a matching bracelet reverse engineered from the original 1979 light-hearted Q design. The case size is 40 millimeters in diameter and 14.5 millimeters in height. We're looking at a lug-to-lug of 46 millimeters and a lug width of 18 millimeters. The black dial incorporates circular hour markers, sub-style hands, and includes a day and date display. The watch is powered by an automatic Miyota 8205 caliber. It's a strong movement that does what it needs to do consistently. It's not overly decorated or adjusted, but it gets the job done without being too fussy, and has a power reserve of 40 hours. The specs place this watch in a position where it can satisfy 99% of potential buyers. The majority of people who will wear the watch do not require extreme water resistance, but it does have a 50-meter depth tolerance, and its acrylic crystal can withstand a good beating. Overall, this is what you can expect from a $279 Timex. Here are 5 things to consider before buying the Timex M79. Starting with number 1, the case. The only stumbling block is the case thickness, which feels thicker on the wrist than it should. But the domed crystal takes up a portion of that measurement, and the midsection of the case does a good job of hiding the bump out underneath holding the movement. The M79 lacks lugs in favor of a steeply banked surface that conceals 2 lug-like elements beneath to which the bracelet is attached. The surface of the lug wall is brushed horizontally, becoming a focal point of the case as a whole, as well as lending a good bit of personality to the overall funky vibe of the watch. The angular case that the community has come to associate with the Q remains. It's almost as if Timex scoured the corners of social media where the watch community congregates and used the feedback as a design brief. Let's get going with number 2, the movement. The M79 is still quite wearable, but the slim fit of the Q contributes to the watch's overall fun and approachable personality. In that regard, the M79 takes itself a little more seriously. The colors are muted and there is a prominent automatic written at the bottom of the dial, lending a serious tone to what is intended to be a more serious watch. The automatic movement is a Miyota 8205 and it can be seen through the case back. It's not the most beautiful movement you'll ever see, but at this price point, showing it is something of a badge of honor. It has a reserve of 40 hours and should keep you within 20 seconds or so per day. One advantage it does have is a day and date complication at 3 o'clock on the dial. These are adjusted at the crown's first stop, which moves the date one way and the day the other. Ticking away with number 3, the dial. Time is read using a pencil minute hand and a T-shaped hour hand reminiscent of a Rolex's Mercedes. Each is filled with yellow lume, which matches the yellow lume in the circular hour plots around the dial. These elements, which sit atop a matte black dial, are meant to evoke the experience of an aged dial. It's debatable how successful they are, but there is one point of contrast, the red seconds hand. And with no other red on the dial, it does feel a little out of place, but it's a welcome addition to an otherwise simple design. On to number 4, the bracelet. The bracelet is made of steel and fits comfortably around the wrist thanks to the many narrow links that are inspired by the 1970s design. A small clasp keeps it on the wrist, which can take some fiddling to secure, but overall, this is a great bracelet that complements the watch's personality. The M79 is still a very enjoyable and approachable watch, and you can replace the original woven mesh bracelet with a sportier stainless steel H-link bracelet. The H-link bracelet is a high-quality bracelet that is designed to perfectly fit the lugs of your watch. Because of its link spacing, this functional, stylish bracelet is more breathable on the wrist and adds a sporty visual impact to the overall watch. And the co-branded bracelets have been polished to match the case, sending out a final bat signal with number 5, the the Batman bezel. Few other bezel designs in recent memory have sparked as much controversy and admiration in the watchmaking community as the so-called Batman bezel. The 2013 Batman model had a lot of positive aspects, and in many ways, it was a return to form for Rolex, which had struggled for years to recreate the original look of the 1950s GMT Master models, which featured a blue and red bezel that earned it the nickname Pepsi. Due to the red and blue Pepsi GMT watch being transitioned from stainless steel to 18-karat white gold that same year, the watch held the proud title of being Rolex's only stainless steel model with a bi-colored bezel for the next few years, and as a result, it became extremely desirable. Around the bezel, numerals mark the 10-minute positions, and small hashes mark the 1-minute positions. Longer hashes are used by Timex to mark the 5-minute positions around the bezel, and the black and blue color scheme may remind you of one of the classic Batman suits from the early 1970s. And this wraps up my review of the Timex M79. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you watching it till the very end. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know in the comments below what other watches you think deserve their own video. And remember, time is your greatest asset.